School leaders and DBV, so you guys understand the landscape, you know. Can't say.
Do your pattern later. If I go one occasion with them there together, and they decide
He could not say that when she was DBV. I know she said when she was in the office. But she's holding us, so she can speak.
Yeah.
I would have overheard some labor saying Andrew will say talk about this Saturday education. You can't talk about any case of court. You can't, and jail, you can't talk about it. But some of us don't understand these dynamics.
Yeah. What
Yes.
happiness are connected. Caroline, you say the king appoints the governor general. The king can't just go to Jamaica and know nobody. You have to get recommendation from the prime minister. The king will live in Jamaica if you know nobody. So he can't just go to appoint. You know saying go?
The king can't just come pick out nobody and appoint.
Yeah, can't even know nobody.
And the prime minister have to recommend them.
Exactly. And we soon get rid of the king. And we soon get rid of GP.
Yeah, man.
He would have to go on the voters list today.
Yeah.
The king would have to go on the voters list to pick out, just to pick out my name.
Exactly.
He has the person has
Caroline. Maybe the king will call Caroline.
He can't put anybody there. The person has to recommend it, man.
Yeah, man. I have to recommend it, Caroline. Now you get picking up Caroline. Just listen to your call.
The king would have to go to Jamaican.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Connected. You can imagine them. You can imagine the king pick on me. And show.
Imagine the king pick
I'll
out
show me that to me.
What?
What?
It can't work, sir. It has to be recommended by the PM.
Yeah, man.
Consult this, I think, with the opposition leader. I think that's the protocol.
That's
The
why
consult this with the opposition leader.
Yeah, with the opposition.
Just consult with him. The opposition leader has no say. The prime minister just tell him, say, look at a G keeper and GG, you know.
You might feel agree with it.
Oh, no, man, you never agree. You never agree.
You know, if you agree, say me, you must be mad.
It's just like I think the DBP, you know.
Not oppose it.
Well, they can make up nice, man. That's how they did it, they make up nice. Like old band. That's another time, try destabilize the government. The Chief Justice, you know.
Why you cost me a cost every day? Everybody me a cost. And my Golding, my carry ship come put him out of Jamaica. What? And God, and all the one Satan can blood. God, when me done with him, he head come down little. I did a boy down there, Jack Spot down in Portland. When me done with him, mama, he will walk back here.
Yeah, Sam.
Spanish night chance, you have to be yourself to your mind, you know.
Behave yourself. You don't know behavior for me.
You have to be yourself.
I remember when we that going to position still, you know.
Yeah, but that thing should have good faith there, you know. I think it should have good faith there, Balalo.
That good.
Yeah, man, a big choice, that man. Big choice. But
That's what I mean.
you can imagine that the small islands are going after or to become the DVV, you know. They want that, especially those countries that are having problem with crime. And the rest of the Caribbean have problem with crime except Jamaica. Jamaica crime are going with that. Barbados homicide increased by 147% last year. 147 to 150%. While we had a 19% decline last year. And we're now at 40% this year.
Well, Mike is remember PJ made his friend PJ. So he can get a good mention. Our friend when we met GP.
Sir Howard.
Oh, Sir Howard.
No man, so Howard is a former PMP minister of education, you know.
Howard Cook.
Yes.
And Glasspole never. GG too.
Yeah.
Glassball.
Glassball is a politician too.
The best GG never see him. And the preferred Campbell, the best GG.
I think I first one that.
Yeah, best.
Was a Labour
First,
man.
and the first Jamaican that.
Mm-hmm.
Sir Clifford Campbell.
Was a Labour man.
Yeah, man.
But he must balance. Let me tell you something, Scritti. When the Labour Party appoint somebody, they're not going to dinosaur Labour right, to sabotage PNP. And PNP is something, there's something in that. PNP destroy Jamaica between, I mean, I've been saying this before the election, and I'm going to stop saying it because it's a fact. When PNP plan somebody in our position and then plan and they disrupt the government, the government comes in,
Because look how Andrew put PNP in a certain position, like
Keith Duncan.
no, Keith Duncan and where Governor General man named there? The Bank of Jamaica man.
Oh, yeah, that about Richard Biles.
Richard Biles, he was a PNP man.
The man have strong PNP background, yes.
Andrew put it.
Man competent, he's a very competent man. You know, say very competent.
Yes, of course.
Very competent, And then the man that put Jamaica before the politics. Eh?
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Put Jamaica before the politics. Like he don't that gentleman.
Right.
You know, flip your mind.
You know.
Eh?
The man choose Jamaica, brother, choose the country, but choose
Yeah, the country, you choose the country, PNP, no stay up, man. We are finding
No,
out
we don't stay somewhere.
dinosaur. I'm going to put the road black, man. And then see I find somebody, after black, after road back, police commissioner, PNP, deputy of PNP. All of who work in the public sector, PNP, they just pack a whole bunch of pure PNP and mash up the country. You don't go to Jamaica.
But you can't move forward like that
No.
because you have more competent people on the other side. We could
All right,
achieve.
Scritty, can you imagine if the JLP was doing what the PNP was doing by packing up the public service with their surrogate and to carry down the PNP? The country wouldn't reach nowhere, brother.
We don't reach away.
We wouldn't get nowhere. It's a big stumbling block. You know, the PNP pack up people them in the way and the JLP people them, But we have with a fight and a try around them.
What kind of thing? You know, see the doctor guy down there where them might go and meet you tomorrow. The one they run, the one that tear off his shut down the sun. The only nigga want to say them.
I was confused.
We play that game, you know. We play that game, you know.
Which constituency in running now?
Morgan.
You won't get trouble, man.
Robert, this is Morgan.
Yes, don't have carrying that.
Oh,
Yeah, right now, man,
And
you
the
have
law, they can't carry him up to judgment. No,
No,
a PMP did make that the law, you know. A PMP did make that the law, you know.
well, the leader tell lie to the government, say government put it on suspension, that's a lie.
No, I'm a senior.
But if they on suspension, I didn't serve document on it. You can't serve document on it, I keep my word.
Well, tomorrow I'm going to meet, you know.
They can't take my word, you know.
We'll discuss him in money.
Yes, a 50%,
How much pay him up?
5%, yes.
How much pay him up?
He can't go down to zero. He can't get nothing
You
at
can't
all.
get to zero.
They play the tape, that's all, you know. Because GP, you did have it.
Oh, you know, hear that. We just snippet like cleaner.
Yeah, man, we have it.
Yeah, man.
We have it as a command.
Based on what you were saying about PNP back in the public sector with black people,
Yes.
there was an article, from Delano Seabright, and I agree with him. They posted the article where Delano Seabright was saying something about that same thing. And then, all right, listen what he said. He said, G2K President Delano Seabright has been generally roundly chastised for his views expressed in social media and WikiLeaks.
We'll continue.
Alright, it said G2K President Delano Seabright has been generally roundly chastised for his views expressed in social media and WikiLeaks from a 2009 exchange with U.S. Embassy personnel that known People's National Party supporters in the public service should be removed and the jobs given to labor rights. His own party has distanced itself from the comment made on a social media, and Seabright was reprimanded. The October 2009 cable says Delano Sebright, a Jamaica Labour Party insider who worked in the Prime Minister's office, told embassy official, name deleted by the Gleaner, that the general feeling within the JLP was that Golan has wasted valuable time pursuing elusive political consensus with an opposition party unwilling to accept its fate, and as a result, after years of toiling for the party, JLP supporters had expected to assume some of the posts held by known PNP operatives. That cable was delivered soon after Prime Minister Golan announced the plan for the rationalization of the public sector. Later on, using social media, the G2K president reiterated that, listen out, G2K president reiterated that if we continue to keep these people in sensitive position, then all this does is to maintain the status quo of Jamaica being a PNP country and the JLP running the risk of being a one-term government. We won the election, which gives us the opportunity to implement policies that we sold to the electorate. These policies cannot be led, your man said, these policies cannot be led by PNP functionaries and their affiliates dressed in civil servant suit and perceived as being impartial. Alright? No, this is what listen to this part which is important. When Delano Williams was in short pants, Laston Mills, University of the West Indies professor of public administration and a one-time chairman of both the Public Service Commission and the Electoral Commission, who had started his professional life in the public service, delivered the 1997 Grace Kennedy Foundation lecture on Westminster-style democracy, the Jamaican experience. Professor Mills devoted a major section of the printed lecture to politicization of the civil service. In that section, Mills quoted from a minister of government who, in the 1970s, had been faced with a certain dilemma of employment and deployment in the civil service to satisfy the needs of the new direction the government was then embarking upon. The Minister of National Mobilization, D.K. Duncan, declared in Parliament in 1976, several years before Delano was born, in a Ministry of National Mobilization. He said, this is what D.K. said. In a Ministry of National Mobilization in a socialist government, it is very difficult to employ somebody who is not a socialist. I make no apology. Every single employee in the Ministry of National Mobilization is credentialed as a democratic socialist, are clear and pure. Mills was writing about the Robert Pickersgill Committee of Political Purity. This is what Mills had to say about that committee. Concern about the controversial issue of commitment versus competence as one of the selection criteria in appointing to statutory boards and committees was intensified during the latter part of the 70s. Following the 1976 election victory, the PNP created a party accreditation committee, the Pickersgill Committee of Political Purity, as it was dubbed, evidently had the task of screening candidates to ensure that appointees were of impeccable political purity. Mills was not just criticizing Jamaica.
What thought right this? What do you think that mean? Right this, what do you think that mean?
Now the PNP people, man,
PNP, you can't work in a public service.
Yeah, man.
Oh, you can't get no work if you're not PNP.
No, but look here. Connecting. That is why now Chuck them always say, boy, one time I was a liberator, afraid to say a liberator now.
True.
Because if you're a liberator now, get no work. Yeah. You have to say you're PNP.
Why? The PNP can't go for Jamaica.
That's why this doctor here know what women are do.
Exactly.
They go on platform because them get all the code of ethics. All of them get it, they follow the policies of being a public servant. And when election time comes,
But Squitty, you know what catch him? They thought that they would win.
Yes.
That's what catch him. They showed him how win.
I want to play the tape again. I want to play the tape.
And you see, once them win, you know, no problem at all with them party. Them party, head them and back them. Nah, they kind of nasty.
Listen this.
Play it through
Listen what, listen what I reach him. Because a lot of people don't hear it. Listen what I reach him.
Yes. Dr. Dixon, who unsuccessfully challenged GLP's Member of Parliament, Robert Nesta Morgan, for the Clarendon North Central seat on September 3rd. Dr. Dixon is a junior resident at Mapen Hospital, and after contesting the election, he is now scheduled to face disciplinary proceedings. On Monday, the Southern Regional Health Authority said that they are his employer, and they are alleging that he breached Public Service Staff Order 1, which prohibits public officers from engaging in partisan political activities. Did you all know that? That staff order bars officers from engaging in party platforms or any partisan political role in elections at any level. The SRHA cites this clause in moving to discipline the doctor. A letter dated September 16 and obtained the Sunday Gleaner bears the signature of one Nicolette Thomas Edwards, Director of Human Resource Management and Development. It informs the doctor, the defeated PNP candidate who challenged the JLP candidate at the time, Robert Nesta Morgan, that as of September 17th, he has been in breach of the staff order and further investigations are being carried out. The letter also stipulates he may not leave Jamaica without permission from the regional director. Additionally, it says you and a representative are invited to a meeting at the regional office on Monday, September 29, 2025, starting at 10 a.m. to give you an opportunity to be heard in determining your salary whilst you are waiting for this investigation to be over. So they said that it's a serious breach, and the staff order governs the process of placing an officer in waiting when there is a serious breach of conduct which is being alleged. So under it, a public officer may be suspended, right, or investigated and put on leave pending the investigation. And while he's on leave, he may face salary reductions. Salary may be reduced to 0, 25%, or 50%. The candidate said he was surprised the matter had become public and initially declined to comment. He later added, quote, I will comply with the letter and attend the meeting, and my union, the Jamaica Medical Doctors Association, is aware of the matter. Public servants under these orders, guys, include employees of ministries, departments, statutory bodies, government-controlled companies, and other performing public functions. The prohibition in question thus applies broadly across government services. A former acting public defender criticized the staff order. He said that it will not and cannot pass the constitutional test set by the court. In a case he made reference to Julian Robinson versus Attorney General, because, for example, as it relates to the use of this kind of breach with its adverse impact on a person's salary, before culpability is established, it cannot be shown that interdiction is a proportionate tool. He said, why would it be necessary to suspend a doctor or surgeon to investigate whether he or she has breached regulation? He further argued that while the intention behind the regulation may be understandable, quote, the legal learning and provisions of this kind throughout the Commonwealth informs us that a blanket restriction, irrespective of the rank of the public servant, will fail the proportionality test. Attorney John Clark, who was even more blunt. He said the rule is unconstitutional. Though he is not representing Dixon, Clark drew on a case law from Barbados to support his view as he spoke to the Sunday Gleaner. He said in Barbados, a High Court judge in 2023 struck down a regulation nearly identical to Jamaica's, which barred all public servants from political activity. The judge ruled it unconstitutional, finding it inconsistent with the rights to freedom of expression and association. He deemed the regulation, quote, overly broad, disproportionate, and cannot be reasonably justified in a free and democratic society. In that Nicolette Murray case, disciplinary proceedings were permanently stayed. The rule general order in Barbados had forbidden public officers from being adopted as parliamentary candidates, canvassing, holding party offices, speaking at political meetings, or acting as agents or sub-agents. Clark emphasized that no policy may override constitutional rights. Dixon, who is 31, earned his medical degree from the University of the West Indies. He has worked at the Clarendon-based Maitland Hospital for 8 years, with a special interest in pediatrics. He was previously a youth aide to former Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller. His foray into politics began while he was at UA. He was active in the PNP's 2020 campaign for Dr. Desmond Brennan. According to the Observer, the targeting of doctors under the political activity rule is not without precedent. In 2020, Dr. Brennan, the prior PNP candidate in that area, was interdicted by SRHA when he sought election. No action was taken against him in 2016 when he ran, but his post was shortly after moved from Chapelton Hospital to Lionel Town Hospital. In an interview prior to the 2020 polls, Brennan told the Sunday Gleaner that he was frustrated by government action against him. He ultimately left the service, taking a reduced pension. From Jamaica Civil Service Association, President O'Neill Grant recalled that in his tenure, letters of caution were sent to the membership. Quote, during my tenure, there were no reports of persons taking the political platform, but what we did have was political actors being given roles in the public sector, he said, naming 4 such individuals. According to him, but of significance is that once they became public officers, we did not see them appearing on any political platform. When Robert Nesta Marvin was a political advisor on communications at the Office of the Prime Minister, he was given a title of Director of Communications and appeared on political platforms. We queried this and we were advised that he was not a public officer. We encouraged the Office of the Prime Minister to desist from calling him a director, which they did. We have not had any difficulties outside of that. Interestingly, the prohibition does not extend uniformly. The president of the Jamaica Teachers Association noted there is no similar regulation in the education regulations that bars teachers from running in elections, and indeed several have done so. Teachers fall under the broader public service umbrella. In the 2020 general election for the PNP, I was a little shocked to see this morning. I don't know what you guys think about this staff order.
All right. Yeah, man. That's what go on with him, so. But I think he must seem surprised. Him know what go on, because him know all of them get them memo. All of them get them memo. Caroline. Hello, Caroline. I'm new to my there. What go on?
Hi, Squitty. How are you?
Yeah, we're good enough. We're on the back field, you know.
Awesome. Hello, everybody. Actually, I really don't have a topic. I may have requested an arrow. So,
Nah, man, you're good, man. Remember, say it's an open platform, you know, we talk anything, but you can comment on what you just hear.
well, I really don't know what to say. I mean,
But you don't know about Jamaican
I,
politics.
I do understand that, there's a lot of people in Jamaica that have access to opportunities because they're affiliated with the PNP, and because of that, the Jamaica Labour Party people are at a disadvantage, and I just hope that soon there will be something about it, it will change.
Yeah. But this doctor, what the thing when he's trying to explain, this doctor guy, he ran for MP against a Labour right now, and he lost. So he's a doctor, he's not supposed to be on platform while serving in the public sector.
Oh.
So then he get reprimanded and he's to go to a meeting tomorrow. Somebody meet him.
Well, Squidgy, to be honest, I think a lot of the decisions that the PMP made, coming up to the elections was based on expediency. If you look at the candidates, I mean, God help us if some of them had won. I mean, are those people you would want to govern? Those people making laws, I mean, those people planning your future, your life, those people in control of your education system. A lot of people I think they just throw people in.
Yeah, them two people who have criminal record and them stuff there. People who've been in criminal.
Well, it is evident that they did not they, you- they really probably didn't vet their candidates properly, or maybe they just didn't care. They were just like how they were making up things as they go in the elections.
But they don't need to make them know them.
Yes,
They know
yes,
everything about them, you know.
yes, but at the same time,
Party like that, they don't care. They just feel say boy them privileged to do anything.
Squidgy,
Like
do you think that PMP is underestimating Jamaicans? Do you think that
yeah,
are
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because I mean, we're not as illiterate as people think, We're really not,
Sure.
and it is as if you have to wonder, what do they really think of us?
Them things
What
say
do
we are some fool
their
people who they
opinions
want
of
right.
us? Is it that they think we have no sense? I don't know. I just don't get it, and I find it to be very disrespectful.
Good thing. She's making an important point. You know that the PNP don't think that their followers are intelligent. They think they don't have no respect for the intelligence level of their followers. If you notice the nonsense that the PNP put to the followers, they propagandas and lies and so on.
Yeah, and just feed them with it and expect them to
Yeah,
just
but
run with it.
no, but them running
That's
it
what this
quickly.
narrative.
Intelligent Jamaicans don't follow them. The PNP followers will do anything them give them.
Sure.
Mickey, respectfully, if you speak to someone who supports the PFP party, right? And you should ask them, what are the policies of the PMP that made you vote for them, right? They really cannot explain a policy.
No, you see,
They cannot tell you two things, much less one, why they're voting for PNP. A lot of people say, oh, we voted for PNP because of history. And it makes you wonder, what history are you talking about? Oh, Michael Mann, what good did he do for Jamaica?
Remember say PFP didn't carry them go to Euro Circle but demonstrate, you know. And when the people demonstrate, most of them don't even know.
Yes, but you know, Squitty, I think we need to go back to history. We a lot of Jamaicans believe that okay, because I was born in a PMP home means that I need to become a comrade. You know, I think they need to I think you guys need to educate them on the history of Michael Manning, the history of PMP in Jamaica. You know, and until you're able to do that, things will never change. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought someone spoke. Right,
No.
because until we're able to tell the people the truth, you know, things will never change.
Sure.
But Carlin,
Mhm.
DK, DK Duncan's son, Pete Duncan, he is the chairman of EPOC, and the oversight body that really thing there. They are the watchdog for the government, so that the government maintain its strict fiscal discipline. He's always putting out good report that the economy is doing well and we are on the right track and so on, and that angers the PNP. Now he has gone, yeah, he has taken up a post as a JP senator, and the PNP they're flipping all over. No, they said, no, a man like DK, the legacy of father was such strong man in the PNP, you're going to jail and so on. The man's an intelligent man. The man can think for himself.
The man
And the man has to Jamaica.
And that too is also a reflection of patriotism, you know?
Yes. That thing about your country.
Of course, of course. But how many people are patriotic?
Right?
You know, I mean, one would think that, okay, you know, or, you know, based on what I understood is that the masses of the PNP are really poor, you know, or maybe mostly uneducated. Because, I mean, you have to believe that because you could not have any sense and vote for PNP. You know, you really can't, you know. But these people are more loyal to the PNP than they are to themselves. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you tell them. They're still going what you offer them. They're still going to vote for the PNP. So until you are able to tell the history of the PNP to the younger people growing up, because you can't change the older ones, you really can't. So if we're not willing to educate the youths and tell them the truth, the whole thing is just going to continue.
You know, Squitty,
That's true.
Caroline almost tricked us, you know.
Because she said she can't talk, I may say she are going well.
Caroline nearly come up here and walk over us and come out of the back. I'm glad she came up and I'm glad she spoke.
Yeah, because if you tell her say you can't talk, man.
Yes, man. Yeah, man, I'm glad.
Go to your ear just now.
Because they try her tongue.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, man.
I don't know what happened.
You know what damage you talk.
Yeah, man. You made a very outstanding contribution, you know.
Well,
Yes.
I think I sent a request by error, but I didn't want to be.
No, but it's not here, man.
Yeah, man, you're
Right
getting
here.
it right.
Right
Yes,
here.
not that error.
Well, I'm on Instagram every day. I'm sure you know I'm one of Neighbor's moderators, so.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, who's moderator?
Neighbor.
Oh, your neighbor moderator.
One of.
But Caroline,
I would see you over here. I never see you yet.
I'm always over here, Squitty. I'm here almost every night.
in the comment section.
No, I don't really comment. I just listen.
Oh, you got the fire you page. You got the fire you page.
No. I send you gifts all the time. I send even on election night when I told you that Dr. Dunn lost by 19 and you got upset. I said I don't know what I'm saying. You remember that conversation?
Yes. But I first we see you coming out of the box.
Because I sent you a request by error.
I know error, man. I know error. What is the B must be?
Yes, man. It was divine.
Yes, I'm always over here. I'm here every
Man,
night.
you must start come up in the box, come have a conversation, man. Then,
Well, I just want to respond to something that you said if you allow me a little short. I agree with her that
yeah.
a lot of these comrades are brainwashed. They are just brainwashed. And they don't stop and think. They don't think about Jamaica, they don't think about anybody else, they don't think about themselves, they just think about PNP. If they just stop and think and do some research. And by the way, Caroline, almost on a nightly basis, on a daily basis, we are out here explaining to them what Michael Mann did to Jamaica, what Pakistan, Omar and Harrison did to Jamaica. But they don't care, they do business, they are just blindfolded. And in fact, they are quick to accuse us of the ones who are blindfolded, wrongly accuse us. But if they just go on the internet and do the research, the next thing is that what is the PMP's greatest nightmare, is the proliferation of social media platforms. Because before social media, they would use the traditional media and go there and trick the people and this
Yeah,
guy.
and spread them lie and them propaganda.
But what does happen to them now? Platforms like these, they can research and bring them truth. So and they are a lot of support because of that. Well, I really thank you for your contribution, and I like speaker, I'm going to invite you to come back and give me a powerful contribution this evening, alright?
Yeah.
Respect.
Thank you very much.
That person says she can't talk, she don't know everything.
She said she needed to chicken, man. She needed to chicken put her box.
Well, thank you for having me, and I must tell you that throughout the entire election process, I've really learned a lot from all of you. You know, so I'm really grateful.
Yes, they welcome and thanks, yeah.
Take care. Have a good night, everybody.
Alright, you're gone.
Okay, bye.
You don't have to leave it today, you can't stay for a reason, man. You make somebody who's darker, you can't chip in now and then.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Alright, who are we talking now? Inspiration. Inspiration. I'm going to come out, brother.
Yes. Wonderful contribution there, Caroline. As the connecting the dot says, we were almost tricked, but quite salient points made. I believe, and I said it earlier on, that the PMP seem to have a sense of entitlement, as it was touted that they are indeed. Jamaica is PMP's country, and you could see that they seem to ride that wave or that narrative by stating at one point that they will be making the government work real hard as oppositions. They will not allow them to get away with anything. They actually went as far, or have the audacity to want to tell the government what to do and how to maneuver itself. They started that. But I think they have no real point. They didn't have one prior to the election. They have none now, and I don't think they will ever have any real strong point. They've run out of ideas. They are, as Cliff would say, intellectually bankrupt. And so, as Caroline said, let's do a comparison, quick, and see who would use for education. Who among them? Who would use for finance? You look at the look at the brand of MPs that have taken office, and just flip the coin and see if they were indeed if they had formed government, what kind of government they would have. A bunch of rookie people, a bunch of people who are ready to fuel their own ego, not having the country at heart, but having their own agendas, and as they've always done, feather their own nest. I listened to Damian Crawford addressing some high school kids some time ago, and he said that he became a diplomat and he could travel whichever country having his diplomatic passport and blah blah blah, and it was just like a total show off, and that's what you have in the PNP, and not having Jamaica at heart. They think the people are the people they had 30 years ago, and it's not going to work this time. And this is why I strongly believe that more than ever, the fourth term is in view, and it's real doable, because they're arrogant. They have not gotten their act together. They continue with a false narrative, misinformation, disinformation. They continue. They have not changed, and all because they think the people are not really smart, but they will be outside looking in for a long time. We have seen it, and you know, I resolve in my mind that I'll be one of the Jamaicans who will actually be on the island more often than not. And when I hear some of the stories and some of the things, I'm deciding to go into some of these constituencies to unearth the real truth about what is being said, just like I did with Lakeisha Burchell. Like I said, when I travel home, I would always rent a car. If I'm not renting a car, I'm not leaving here. And I'll go through every nook and cranny area that I can. And that's why I realized I caught Lakeisha Burchell flat-footed, jumping up and down with a bunch of taxi operators saying that the road surface is no good. The taxi operators came off the road saying, well, they have lost their ball joints, they have lost parts of their cars, front ends, because of the bad roads.
I think that was the political.
When I traversed the road network in question, I asked the people, what happened to these roads? They said, listen, it cannot be fixed. I said, why? He said, for 30 years, we had no water under the 5-star general, which was Kelia. And a Homer Davis decided to put in a massive water project from Hanover, from the Great River, all the way into parts of an area, Anchovy, Roehampton, where the high school is.
What an inspiration. So that means the pipes are being laid.
Pipes are being laid.
Right.
And along the road surface,
the road cannot fix until
and it is still in, the work is still being done.
Yeah, work in progress.
There's no testing. Yes, there's no testing of the line, nothing of that sort.
Right.
They cannot resurface the road until the lines are tested and they have everything in place. Then the road can resurface. Well, see, they play politics, and she went there with them, talking about the bad roads. You have to be underground to hear the truth, and that's what the PNP are good for. And I said I blame the GLP because they hear the false narrative out there, and nobody stand up to say that's not true.
Well,
I think the GLP needs to crank up them PR machine.
And that's why I said I am going to be one of those Jamaicans who will go into the trenches and unearth the truth when they come with their false narrative. I will have that time. Mark my word.
but inspiration. Do you think that Jamaicans understand processes in Jamaica? you know, where
If you know, Carolyn, I think if you explain to the people, they will understand. They're not that dumb.
but don't you think they're failing even the incumbents? Because if you should take into consideration that, you know, when a new government starts, okay, the JLP is the government now, but it's a new government. It's not a continuation.
True.
So, for that reason, say for example, Mr. Homer Davis had applied for a road to be fixed in his constituency, right? And he lost he lost his seat, right?
Yes.
The new MP, that application that was sent in for that road, she cannot get it, you know, she'll have to apply all over again. So
That is true.
so for that road to fix, it's going to take the same or maybe more time than if they had kept the former MP.
And that's why when they go around telling people these lies and telling the people how they can get things done in a record time just to be elected, we're going to hold their feet to the fire and let the people know the real truth. Because if you explain to the people, they will say, oh, we understand. And this time, mediums through like this will expose these lies.
Well, that's unfortunate because it seemed as if there was supposed to be a lot of development in that constituency, and now that they have chosen her, it's a major setback for the constituency.
It is a setback because she's in Kingston, and I don't know how she's going to stay in Kingston to run that constituency when Homer Davis was a guy in the trenches on the ground down there. I've been there, I've seen it, I walked through it.
After we finish inspiration, I'd like to just support some of the things that you're saying and give some more clarification.
Yes, and so I believe that it's going to be a setback, as you've said, Caroline, setback to the constituency. It's a rookie taking office, and she came through because of some kind of a personality. I don't know what the people, what they were looking at, but they look at body without brains.
She used to want
Body,
the young boys.
body without brains. That's what happened. Body without brains. That's what they voted for.
Well, and this is why I'm suggesting that, you know, I think people need to be educated on these topics, you know, because when they campaign and they make all these promises without explaining to people what the process is like, you know, then when it doesn't happen, they in turn campaign and say that, well, they were sabotaged by the government.
Yes, and I heard the same thing in Westmoreland, and this is why again I keep hitting the JLP. When I heard that money was granted to the constituency and on the local government in front, for example, the market in Savannah Lamar, how deplorable it was, and it wasn't until Mackenzie went and says, we have given so much money for this market to be constructed, and they took the money and did what they want to do with it, and have the lies telling the people, and the people believe the lies.
Okay, well, it is what it is. I guess we just have to keep trying to educate them on the things that are important.
And that's why these mediums are so important going forward. We have to bring the truth to the people.
Well, the Jamaica Labour Party is also responsible for telling their story as well, you know?
They're sometimes slow and trying to be nice and being passive about these things, and that's not gonna cut it for the locals. The Jamaican culture is one that could be very rough at the edges, but it can be somewhat softened if you explain to the people, they will understand.
Homer Davis actually did a lot more work in 5 years than Derek Keller did in 32 years. Derek Keller was there.
I know that.
Yes, Derek Keller was there from February 1989 straight to 2020 when Homer won the thing. That's mathematically, that's 32 years, 32 straight years. And Homer Davis 5 years to about done all that Derek Keller did just in one term.
And if he had made them pipes and run water.
Well, listen to me now, Skitty. Listen to me now. Southern St. James has one of the most massive water projects in all of Jamaica. The constituency in Southern St. James, $1.4 billion water project. 1.4 billion.
Big water project.
Eh? Yes.
Right now.
Yes.
Right now as we speak.
Yes. Right now.
You understand? And Omar Davis is no stranger to the constituency, you know. He ran 3 times. He's on the third attempt he won the constituency, you know.
Yeah.
He yes. 2016 and last. He won 2011, 2016, and he lost, and he won 2020.
Yeah.
He was a councillor up there for years, and the mayor. So he's very familiar with the constituency. He has been up there for years.
He knows the constituency.
As a matter of fact, you know, he's a farmer detective in St. James, you know, so he know the place well. He know the people. And can I say, the people of that constituency has lost significantly more than Omar himself by voting him out. The people of there.
I can say that too.
Because
I can say that. Yes.
Absolutely.
The connecting. Oma is to be given. Everywhere Oma going, he don't people. Oma brings invite this little fake body girl. Everywhere she might go bring her. Every meeting you know, he was handed over the police station and I shielded them from police. Why you have to do that? Call couple of your neighborhood people to follow you.
Oh, you mean Nikisha?
Yes. Everywhere man goes, I go funeral, the girl to the side of him. Dress extreme, emotional.
What's going on to say that?
Nikisha.
She walk up and down, when you see the little young boy, I'm a single lady. She was so excited, and after the lecture, now she cover up. Come on, are you kidding me?
They call her plastic body.
He was also he was appointed the minister for, I think, special projects in Western Jamaica, you know. So he had got a portfolio, you know. So he was responsible for these projects, the water and light. I was surprised. I went up there with him 2020, the campaign with him, you know. I was surprised when I realized that so many persons in the country never had electricity, light. The whole place of the darkness. I man went through and was building the whole place, but one term couldn't do it. So they stand to lose more than Omar Davis. You know, Prime Minister, another analogy that he used, you know. Prime Minister always say that have you ever seen a dog chasing a car, or the car stops the dog, they don't know what we do. I feel that, you know. They might run down power, and when you give them governance, they don't know what we do. They don't need that. They have never governed this country since they have won 3 times, 72 to 80. They came back 89 to 07, and then 2011 to 2016.
And out of which one of them governance that them go on with? Which one them put in the move?
You want me to be very brutally frank with you?
Yeah.
The push that seems to be that government with Peter Phillips.
2011 to 2016.
2011 to 2016. Take that from me.
Yeah.
Then waste time there before. That seems to me like administration followed up and the fiscal responsibility for everyone was linked by Bruce Gooding.
Yes.
This is too much, you know. I am looking at the things. And they improved on it.
Yeah, especially in the fiscal prudence thing there.
Yes. You have to give a credit for that.
But I
PG,
don't
Patterson,
think that was a choice.
Omar Davis, I glad them there. Wasters.
They were forced to do do so because of their
IMF, yes.
the IMF
Yes.
rules and restrictions
We
that
still
were
have to give them credit. We still have to give them credit for it.
Yeah.
Because
I'm not sure why they needed to get credit for it.
Thank you, Caroline.
I said the same thing,
Come on.
Caroline.
No,
I said the same thing.
No, inspiration.
alright, let me hear
No.
Mikey. Let me hear Mickey say.
If you burn your house down and it's being built back, who do you get credit? You build your house
I
after you burn it down.
understand what you're saying,
Do you decide to get credit? No,
I understand what you're
none
saying.
whatsoever. Careless spending over the years had led to this, and their backs were against the wall. They had no choice. This was it, and they had to do what they had to do.
It was then I never. Then I never. But
They get no credit from me.
I want to understand what I'm saying going on. I want to understand what I'm saying. That government stuck to the IMF conditionalities. They didn't deviate from it. They tried nothing else.
It was not. It was not.
Not by choice.
Well,
By
it
force.
was a conditional. You're right. Not by choice.
No,
Not by
inspiration.
choice.
No,
They had to
inspiration.
comply because of the IMF rules.
No, but look here, Caroline. I go with connecting on this one. What you know? Remember, as I used to listen to Monty Perkins, and Monty Perkins used to say that Peter Phillips had a hard problem in convincing the cabinet members to go with the money. You know, they could have reneged on it and tried to get money to borrow somewhere else or so on. But I think you have to give Peter credit. You have to give Peter Phillips some credit for this one.
Must you get no credit?
Let's put the narrative where it belongs. Let's put the narrative where it belongs. Stick up in there. You said that some of the cabinet. Do you understand what happened to FITSAC? It was those monies that they borrowed privately, and they were in nothing but fire. They have no credit from me. None. Zero.
Inspiration.
Zero credit.
Inspiration. Remember your inspiration that when with the breakdown with FinTech, when Bruce Golding came in, all right, and Bruce Golding said, okay, no more skylarking, and went to the IMF because, all right, and took the plan to the IMF, and the IMF said, boy, you sure this is a strict plan? Can you really stick to it? And I said, yes, we have to stick to it. We have no other choice. But remember, remember that Arnie Shaw got stuck in his he had some problems with the unions because remember, the PNP had a wage freeze, from 2004 to 2006, and then the PNP had promised the public sector that they would give them a 13% increase from 2006 to 2007, and 2006 2007, and a further 5% following year. But when Bruce went to the IMF, one of the big problems was the IMF said the public sector let it too big. You have to do something about it. You have to cut it or something. And that's where Arnie Shaw run into a brick wall because the unions were saying that, listen, they have gone through some wage freeze with the PNP already. They have gone through some wage freeze and they're not going through anymore. All right? And the unions, the unions are PNP unions. You're not going to get a JLP government to get them to take any salary cut or any wage freeze or anything like that. And that's what was Arnie Shaw headache. But remember, Bruce sit and realized what was going on. So Bruce said, okay. When Bruce had to leave, Bruce said, okay, Andrew is the man that he's going to put in charge because Andrew can take tough decisions. No, it was too close to the election. So Andrew said, listen, if he's going to put in those tough measures, it's best to get the election out of the way. So Andrew came and told the people about bitter medicine.
Bitter medicine.
Yes. And then he called the election and lost. As you said, inspiration, everything fall right into Peter Phillips' lap. As his baby didn't have anywhere to turn, he had to do something, alright? But it was easier for him to get the unions to sign on to the wage freeze.
That was divine intervention.
Why?
That was divine
Because
intervention.
Because guess what?
The
They
unions
had
are
more leniency to the PNP
all
than
the
they had to the
unions.
JLP.
All the
And
unions
so,
are unions.
because of the leniency, remember, the teachers were fighting something with Bruce Golding, and when they wouldn't accept
And the
it,
nurses
what
too.
they wouldn't accept with Bruce Golding, they accepted it with the government thereafter
Remember-
and signed the teachers.
Yeah, you remember
Teachers.
Edith Alwood, what's her name? Edith, the nurses one there.
Alwood.
Alwood, yeah man. Oh,
Right.
The government tells
Right.
He did all Anderson.
Yes.
Yeah, man, she give her mental, man.
And she quickly signed with the PNP.
Exactly. They had more leniency.
I still don't understand what exactly are you giving Peter Phillips credit for.
Exactly. I have no understanding of that.
No,
None.
No. Remember, you know, he picked up.
Caroline, you and I are on the same board. Same
No.
same path.
Inspiration.
Zero credit.
No, inspiration. Remember when Odisha run into a brick wall as connecting was it divided. Peter Phillips was the man that goes to go to the wall, you know.
But let's look at the major components as to why that happened. The components were the unions were more on the opposition, which is a PNP. One.
Yeah.
Two, they were able to add some leniency. So it wasn't difficult for the PNP to come and say, look, this is what we're going to do, and this is what we're going to do. And they said, okay, boss, we accept that, and blah, blah, blah. It was a much better sell coming from the PNP than from the labor rights.
Yes, because-
and that was one of the epicenter of it.
Yeah, because-
so I give them no credit.
No, because inspiration is only one. Remember, you know, it's only the BI2 supports the JLP. All the other unions are PNP unions, you know. Teachers,
Okay,
Police Federation, everybody. But what inspiration? What I agree with you. You know.
But inspiration, all through the true PMP, a pure freezing for the teacher, freezing the wages.
Exactly.
You see, I don't
Exactly.
understand why this JLP always come but them a sympathize the PMP. What the backside do now?
No, but,
I have no sympathy for this.
So are you connecting that?
They had their backs were against the wall and they had no choice.
I'm looking at the
They
result.
were in the fire.
The result is that the PNP, because this process was started by Bruce Golding and Adesha, you know.
yeah.
But they lost
Right.
the election. Right?
Because Andrew Onis go and speak the truth.
Yeah, I don't think I'm disagreeing with you guys, you know. The PMP created this debacle with the economy, you know. It was created between 89 and 07. That by that running government led by PG and Omar.
Right.
It was created by them. You can't take that away. Okay.
Yes.
The next point is that in 2009, Bruce faced, in addition to the bad economy that they inherited from the PNP, they faced an international economic recession 2008, 1 year after the J10 took office. That blew away some countries actually almost went under. So that faced the JLP and the Bruce Golding in 2008 as well. And not having a strong any buffers in place like what we have now, it devastated the whole economy. So Bruce had to dance through the minefield, you know, and started the JDIX, Jamaica Debt Exchange. They had to liquidate Air Jamaica, which lost $1 billion. They couldn't keep that. That couldn't keep. Sugar Company of Jamaica was also liquidated and that was going. So they started the process and they started the fiscal responsibility framework in 2010 that the PNP coming to claim paternity for live. It was started by Bruce Golding in 2010.
Connected. The PNP are not reading right. It said the PNP enhanced. The PNP didn't start it.
No man, it was started by Bruce Golding in 2010.
Yeah, yes. What
That couldn't we agree that Jamaica after the whole FinSac saga, right? Couldn't we agree that just before PJ Patterson came in, Jamaica was doing fairly well? I mean, we were exporting a lot of stuff. You know, we had bauxite. Crime was not as bad as it was until PJ came in. that affected tourism big time. And on top of it, we sold out a lot of our natural resources to private people or to other countries. So the country was not earning as much as it used to. So, you know, I mean, could we say that they were the ones responsible for that?
Yes, Caroline.
Absolutely, absolutely, no question
So
about that.
how can they get credit, you know, for doing something that they were forced to do after they're the one who created the problem?
Exactly.
But not even
I don't give credit for that.
inspiration.
In the
But not
government,
even that.
$1 million per day to operate.
These neighbor right going around sympathizing with PNP after 44 talk to business people. Some take them life, them do all kind of stuff. I'm not going to talk about, I'm not going to sympathize with people.
Not-
All
You
of
not
them.
you not
No,
sympathize. You not sympathize.
I sympathize. I
No,
sympathize with
you
them.
not
Them
sympathize.
Credit for what?
You not sympathize.
Look on the wonderful thing that Andrew do in Jamaica. Are you here paying for
Why
the
I'm
end of
saying
nothing?
I'm sorry. This is the reason why I'm saying that the story is not being told.
No.
What happened, you know? What happened, you know, is Caroline. Clark, who was a PNP minister of, I think it was trade and industry, something like that. He won his seat in 1989. He wrote an article in which he said, we ended 1988 with a CARICOM trade surplus of US $3 million, all right? And he said by 2008, it has had been converted to a deficit of US 1.6 billion. So what happened is after PJ destroyed the manufacturing sector and so on, all right? Remember, we stopped exporting now and starting to import. They destroyed the whole manufacturing sector. But,
And the agricultural sector as well.
yeah, man, everything's financial, everything that cracked the economy.
Crime went out of control. We weren't getting as much tourism.
Caroline is finished.
They weren't coming here as much as they used to because of the high crime.
What that mean of Caroline? What they did, what PJ they did, alright? Because so many people out of job now, they start using the public sector as a sponge to soak up all those labels. So when they came with JUTC, you know, it was very overstaffed. You have 4 people cleaning one bus. You have, alright? So when that is what created the problem for Bruce when he came in. When the public sector was too big and overstaffed and costing too much. And it's the same thing that Manley did in the 70s that caused Siago to be, Siago had to cut the public sector to, you know.
Because the
And
money
so-
look out for the members of the party, brother. So them
No,
try to stack up.
Pack it up with PNP because we have an agenda.
Yeah.
but no, I'm connecting. Remember, say them destroy public, private man businesses and so on, you know. So when you have private people for employ people, they destroy those businesses.
In the 1990s.
And 70s, yeah.
Let me ask you something. The thing that if somebody that said to PJ, you did a good job in Jamaica when it was prime minister. What do you think of that?
He would
In
say,
the dance on the man. PJ, in the dance on that.
he would say,
When they
Well,
don't dance on it,
it was the best.
when they don't dance on that, how the man look like idiot to ask the question. PJ, that's the man. Alright, I want to agree with something. I agree that it's the PMP that buckled the country, that it brought the country to its knees. I agree with that. It's particularly between 89, when Michael Mann destroyed the economy in the 70s first. Siaga did an Herculean job at building it back between 80 and 89. As a matter of fact, Siaga handed back an economy to Mann that was growing at 5%. 5%. Even having gone through an economic international recession in 1983 and Hurricane Gilbert in 1988, September. He was able to manage the economy so well that he gave back the country to Mandy with a low homicide rate, NIR, and an economy that was growing. Unfortunately, I tell you something. Michael Manley, when he came back in '89, he was a reformed Michael Manley. He was the Michael Manley of the 70s. But then he served for 3 years and got sick and resigned or retired, whatever the case may be. And it over to this black man. This black man got a homicide numbers of 561 1991 when he came in. And by the time he left office, the homicide numbers were 1,674, coming from 561 to 1,674 under PJ Patterson. The economy was totally devastated because of the economic policies that they pursued, the high interest rate policy, followed by the mopping up of liquidity in 1990s. Business, vibrant businesses toppled like Humpty Dumpty. You tell us that Mutual Life, which lasted from 1844, Mutual Life was established by late national hero George William Gordon in 1844. PJ Omar Davis turned it over in 150 years after it was formed. Mutual Life survived that earthquake and resultant fire in 1907. A 50-year-old Mutual Life survived that. Their head office on Barry Street was destroyed by fire. And they were still able to pay claims on their mango tree. They never had an office. But the company was so solvent in 1907 that they still were able to settle their claim. But PNP, the Pandemic National Party, the PNP, turned over Mutual Life in 1990. And along with Mutual Life, every single business went down there. Life of Jamaica, First Life, Eagle Financial Network, all the banks, them, Mutual Security Bank, Dan Crawford Bank, International Bank, but this guy named Delaware Lindsay Workers Bank, all the bank, all the insurance companies, all the businesses, 44,000 businesses, PNP turned them over. Understand? So by the time they lost that election in 07, the country was in a terrible state. Thank God. The people have no, the eyes of the people are no, and what Caroline said about the people are more savvy now, they're more intelligent, they're more politically educated. And we are making better choices now. Far better choices now than we used to do in the past. And so this third term has dealt a severe blow to the behavior. I tell you something, do the bed, you ask me.
It's the biggest defeat.
Well, I'm a justice lady, Millicent Lewis. That's why you don't talk about the oil. Or you're not talking about what oil?
Which oil?
What oil?
Don't listen to side tractors. Don't listen to detractors. They don't have no sense. Don't listen to detractors. Don't listen to them.
Squiddy.
Listen.
Those that like to hear about them past, you know. When they talk about them past, then do all kind of something.
No.
Them past, their past is that they have a wretched past, and they don't want to hear about it.
Let me tell you,
Listen.
this is the biggest defeat they have ever suffered. It is so hot that they couldn't even keep their convention. It's a massive defeat.
Inspiration, you need to come. They come back to Jamaica. We need to have water together, man.
I tell you what, I decided to be on the island for about 4 months.
Yes.
Inspiration.
We need to link up, man.
Inspiration.
Yes.
Let me answer, Millicent. Listen. You know when you're island there, one of them back and going for cookies. One of them back going for cookies. And you wish me the island. Come on, fire and go on the yard, girl. When you hear people then argument to come to distraction, you fire and go on, girl.
We are happy for mediums like these where people can express and people can see what's happening in the various constituency and bring it to this floor. Before the PNP could go on their platform and they could parade with lies and we wouldn't know where the truth lies. Now we have ways of knowing it and it's going to be difficult. They think that they're going to be difficult in opposition. No, we're going to make sure that the people know, because I somehow believe that the JLP information machine is not coming through as it ought to be. And so being passive sometimes, hearing things and not saying anything about it, silence sometimes gives signal to the other side as though they're speaking the truth. And because we're so passive on things, trying to be good, we get hit in the crossfire, and the people will believe. The lies are more easier to believe than the truth if they go unchecked.
But don't you think we should give the comrades some credit too, that despite the things that they believe, when they come on these platforms, don't you think they do so with some level of curiosity?
I don't know if curiosity. I think it's a maliciousness. I think that's what it is. I think it's malicious, not curiosity. When you're going to listen to the platforms in the day, and they're going to ask me, name one or two things that the current administration has done for the nation. You know how I labeled them? I said they are outright wicked. That's all I could say. Wicked. If they live there and cannot identify a single thing that this administration has done, that's not even malicious. It's wicked.
Inspiration. I take the same view as you do. I do. Look here. I just said something must have wrong with these people's brain. What is
wicked?
How can you?
Wicked. That's what it is.
Evil.
Evil.
They might pay people man come and say them see, you know, but they don't see it. Them see, but they don't see it.
Well, you know, I think we've learned a lesson that performance doesn't win elections, right?
You're right.
Performance doesn't matter to a lot of people.
You're right.
It really doesn't.
Caroline. I look at something.
I'm not going to decide to do that one.
Performance doesn't win any.
Well, Anne-Marie Vaz would have been in the house today.
Well, no, you can't look at the one case. You can't look at the one.
Omar Davis would be there.
JP won the election.
True, but you could tell where the lies were told and they went unchecked. And the people, and I do believe that some of these seats were won on the day.
You know what they're saying, man. Exactly. But inspiration and Caroline.
Yes.
I think that a lot of the votes, a lot of the seats that we won to secure the victory came from swing vote. Swing vote will vote on performance. And I think that's where we won the election. They will always vote for the party, no matter what performance, no matter what.
You know, a number of undecided gave Andronis, and a number of the middle and upper class gave Andronis the victory this time.
Yes.
A number of middle class. I'm telling you this. Good.
What the people in the diaspora, bro?
Yeah, man. People live and find come and vote, man. People live they work and live and come and vote.
Well, people came from both sides, you know. It's not just laborites who went to Jamaica.
That is true. When you look at the airport,
Most was laborite, trust me.
aye, you're perfectly right, Keeper. You're perfectly right.
Because they were excited. They were excited to keep this thing going.
You saw the plane load of people, them are coming with. They use the Dream Weekend plane load of people and put the parties on Twitter and then lie, you see.
Exactly. Look at that. I remember that one.
Yeah, man. They
Yes.
use the plane load of the Dream Weekend and just put the parties on
Yes.
and say,
Yes.
plane load of people are coming to go vote for BNP.
And do believe long before we got into Squitty and all these platforms, you know, the PNP had some guys there, like the Andre Stevens. They were spewing venoms like crazy.
Yeah, man. Senator Andres.
This is why now J. Brian crying because his house full of water.
Well, this is the man. Andre Steve not supposed to senator, man. Mark Golden senator.
I would think so.
Them never want an opposition senator, a winning party senator.
You want to government senator? We're talking about that incident with Dre Bryan, you know. Mark Golden told us in 2019 when Peter Bunting was challenging Peter Phillips for the president of the party. Peter Bunting told him to start an endowment fund for struggling comrades. And Mark Golden came out publicly and said that he started the fund. It's on his page, right now it's on the page, all over the internet. That he started the 10 million endowment fund for struggling comrades. In 2020.
Every man will date and go visit and look to you.
Exactly, I look to you. Nice guy, they look to nice guy.
Like them and them should have help.
Well, what I was with it? In 2020, when Mark Golden and Lisa Anna were campaigning for the president of the party, Mark Golden told this nation publicly, he said that whether or not he won the leadership race, he would start an endowment fund for in the sum of $15 million for party workers. So they should have two funds, like they had said already, you know, that the one for 10 million was already established. And he said in 2020 that whether or not, that's why this guy has no credibility, you know, he has absolutely no credibility whatsoever. He said whether or not I win this contest, I will set up a fund for $15 million for party workers. You know, if you had lost the contest, you know, if you had lost the leadership race and didn't set up a fund, he could still go to his credibility, but I could understand, I could see with it. But he won. He won the leadership race. And how Dre Bryan came out and watch where who gone and a hurricane of blow. I didn't come that tell us on national TV say, when they put me on but they came out and look up. And straight nice guy man look to him come to post up. Straight nice guy. And Mark Golden has two endowment funds, one for 10 million and one for 50 million, and the comments are benefit from it. You don't have no fund, you don't have none. Like, big fat lie. And we should hold the fire to their feet with this thing, you know. Don't stop talking about it. Never stop talking about it. And they just come and tell you lies and just lie. So the PMP should have two endowment funds out there, one for 10 million and one for 50 million, $25 million. So Dre Bryan should get the money now.
Oh, wow.
You understand me?
Yeah.
You should hold the fire to them feet because things go to the credibility and the lack thereof of Mark Golden and the PMP. It cannot be believed. It cannot be believed. You can't accept the word for nothing. That is why the hardcore comrade doesn't like when you talk about the PMP because we have too many facts on them to speak on them. And that's why I can't cuss them because I can't go to the I don't want to hear a cuss, but because they want them. You can't cuss the people there. No, sir. You can't cuss them. So I will tell them the truth, tell them facts. I have to just read out the facts and tell them. And tell the nation, so the people, the younger voters will get to know what they do with the PNP. You get me? But I really appreciate Caroline's presence here tonight. Caroline actually sparked this conversation, you know. And I'm giving her credit for it. You must come back more often here, Caroline.
Yes.
Yeah, man, you must come back more often, man. You really did.
Yes.
You really introduce fiery topics inside.
Well,
Yes.
I'm going to the show now, so I'm going to take me leave now.
right. Well, I'm going to go myself, but before I go, may I suggest that we stay on topic. The local government election is going to be in another year or two.
2 years.
I think it's important that we're able to stay on topic and not delve into the frivolous stuff.
That's right.
I agree with you.
Right.
That's right. Yes.
Right.
Stay on topic. That's a very important suggestion.
Right. Well, thank
All
you.
right, guys, have a good night. Nice sharing the platform with you, Caroline. And I hope you come back.
All right. Take care. Have a
In
good
the box, not in the chat. All right.
All right.
Okay.
Jacob,
Nice having you.
all the best, Jacob. G keeper. G keeper, my darling. Take care.
All right, darling.
Yeah, man. Respect everybody.
All right.
Manners.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
You see, when these people come saying what they're saying, Scritty, we don't listen to them because they are there to take us off our game. And if we're not careful, people buy into what they're saying. And because, one thing I noticed with the PMP, whether they can read, write, whether they have PhD, they all think the same. You listen to their story.
About distractor, inspiration, they are
Yes.
very come to distract me.
All them I read from the same script, man.
Yes, they read from the same script, regardless of their academic achievement.
Nobody no call you, girl. Go on where you go. You're not invited. One man. Election done. We are talking, we are reason. The nice infrastructure and all the nice that go on at Jamaica. You don't see, Only night I see you, you're not knowing nothing. So go on.
No, but G Keeper, what happened, the thing that they are jumping the gun, the people, there are substances, they said there are substances below the surface here. But they it resembles oil, but they have to test first to make sure it is oil. They are running around about oil. Wait until the people do the test and confirm that it is really oil,
But I think that the refinery up at Petrodram them a talk about. And the government come out that.
No man, they might talk about the oil that they company them see under the sea there under the water.
They might talk about that, and they might talk about, when they might talk about again, say they find gold. But the uncle gold we could have find under your flat where you need. We could get.
Let me tell you something.
In commercial quad,
You see, the PMP put so much into this election because they are the ones who think they should have brought Jamaica at the 2030 vision. That's where their minds were.